Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communication. I'm Joseph Lopez. Let's take a look at the headlines. A slew of changes to the lineup of Carnival events in Carnival 2013 announced by the NCC. Push for the developments of crops as business that incurs profits by the Food Production Ministry. And highlights from Trinidad and Tobago's last chance to qualify for the semi-finals of the Caribbean Cup 2012. A slew of changes to the normal lineup of Carnival events hosted by the NCC are expected to take effect come next year. This as the NCC seeks to create a bigger, better show for international marketing purposes. The proposed changes were revealed today as the National Carnival Commission launched the 2013 mass season.
Carnival 2013 got kicked off to an early start as the National Carnival Commission launched its lineup for the upcoming mass season. But don't expect the usual king and queen of Carnival or even Dimanche Gras to be hosted on their usual dates, as changes to the event will see the tendering for production of the grand show. According to NCC Chairman Alison Dimas, the aim is to produce a quality show that is worthy of international marketing.
This promises to be a truly spectacular event. It is anticipated that this new format will allow the show to be packaged and sold more easily, and that it would attract a greater level of sponsorship, both from the private sector as well as state enterprises. Indeed, in an effort to be transparent, the NCC has opened up the process, and you would have noticed advertisements in the daily newspapers for the tender for the production of Dimanche Gras 2013.
2013 also marks Pan Trinbago's 50th Steel Pan Panorama anniversary, which will see a new competition introduced on Carnival Monday.
Pan Trinbago will also be celebrating the 50th anniversary of Steel Pan Panorama, and the intention is to present a cameo which will be done on stage during the final segment of the National Steel Band Panorama. Also, what's new this year in the world of Pan, there will be a steel band competition, Groovy Soca Monday Night, which will run for the first time in 2013 on Carnival Monday Night. This competition will be conducted in each of the 4 regions of Pan Trinbago: the Northern region, which will be held on Aria Peter Avenue, South Central region in Coffee Street, the Eastern region, Arima, and we had the presence of the Mayor of Arima, and Tobago region, Scarborough. Each competing steel band must play a groovy soca tune for adjudication.
Arts and Multiculturalism Minister Dr. Lincoln Douglas says it's about pushing the products of Carnival to newer heights.
The Carnival sector is a significant revenue earner for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. But I don't want to start talking the revenue as yet, because the arts and the artifacts that we produce in Trinidad and Tobago represents ourselves, our history, our people, our place in the world, and how we have come to know ourselves. It marks our history, the passage of time, and where we stand in this global village. And these things, ladies and gentlemen, are the most important thing that any nation can have.
The parade route will also see changes in the new year, as the NCC will look to introduce an expanded course for masqueraders as they hold consultations with the necessary stakeholders, such as the Port of Spain City Corporation, to iron out these issues. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
Minister of the People and Social Development, Dr. the Honorable Glenn Ramadasing, is calling on the business community to come forward and assist the newly formed interagency unit with the issue of street dwelling in the country. Minister Ramadasing explained following a discussion with stakeholders at the ministry's Port of Spain offices. Now that Cabinet has approved the newly formed interagency unit, the ministry hopes that their drive to remove street dwellers will be boosted. Dr. Ramadasing says he's optimistic that this can be achieved. He adds that everyone has to do their part and also made an impassioned plea for the business community to come on board.
Here is an opportunity for them to come in and give some support. There's a lot of needs that the government will not be able to fill very easily, but the business community can be a great source of strength and support in this regard.
He says the removal of street dwellers will not come without challenges, adding that street dwelling is an issue that has plagued administrations for over 50 years. Minister Ramadasing says they are learning from previous experiences and is charting a new way forward. His ministry's intervention gained momentum recently when 34 street dwellers were removed from St. James and Port of Spain. He says the interagency unit, made up of officers with responsibility for street dwellers, will undertake the Street Dweller Initiative.
The ministry was well positioned to deal with referring clients to the St. Anne's Psychiatric Hospital and to rehabilitation centers throughout the country, one of which is the Piparo Empowerment Center. That was the business of the ministry as we entered into government in 2010. The issue of street dwelling was charged to the Ministry of Planning because there had been basically a case of musical chairs when any incident occurred.
The minister says the issue of street dwelling is on the front burner, and this initiative is a coordinated effort to remove, rehabilitate and reintegrate the street dweller population.
We see this as the most challenging issue, but is an issue that needs to be confronted and dealt with. And so the Ministry of the People and Social Development, virtually like a David approaching Goliath, we have owned this issue.
The ministry will seek to improve the Center for Socially Displaced Persons on Piccadilly Street, which is the only facility that is currently used as an assessment center for street dwellers. He adds that other ministries, NGOs and private organizations would also be a part of the interagency unit.
From the Ministry of National Security within the interagency unit, from the Ministry of Health within the agency unit, from the local government within the unit, from even the Ministry of the People. We have social workers who are dedicated to this unit.
An effective response to this would require a coordinated and sustained effort by all stakeholders and must include mechanisms for assessment, rehabilitation, and reintegration that are in keeping with respect for human and constitutional rights. When we come back, the Ministry of Food Production's collaboration with PCS Nitrogen on a model farm. Stay with us. Efforts are being made to cultivate a new thinking in the growing of crops as a business that incurs profits and losses which requires management. The project is being piloted as a result of collaboration between PCS Nitrogen and the Food Production Ministry at the PCS Model Farm as they push for the development of record-keeping practices. Food Production Minister, Senator the Honorable Devant Marad says doing this will facilitate a deeper analysis of crop growing and provide financial accountability for farmers.
Local farmers are being urged to take pattern after the new record-keeping book system implemented at the PCS model farms. The system is one that seeks to offer analysis of the crop yields in ratio with land allotments, cost and profits incurred. Food Production Minister Devant Maharaj says the system has the potential to aid farmers in accessing greater funds.
The benefits of the system include many, but include areas such as the farmers would be able to document the cost of production, record revenues from the sale of their produce, show profits from the land cultivated, show production from the acreage of land under cultivation. Farm record keeping is also vital in accessing credit for the expansion of operations. The ADB, for example, has been effective in stimulating investment in the sector through the introduction of new strategies. These include, but are not limited to, the reduction of the loan lending rates. Prior to this administration, it was between 8 to 11%. It is now 3 to 5%.
He adds that the implementation of the record-keeping book will see the management of growing crops as if it were a full-fledged business.
successful implementation of GAP by farmers will lead to their farm being registered under the Farm Certification Program, which should precipitate them from getting preferential access to new and existing markets. It is in this context that I wholeheartedly welcome the timely initiative by PCS Nitrogen to launch a farm record-keeping book entitled Crops, the Green Book. It is my view that we develop the agriculture sector, farming, and so on in a way that can be managed as a business.
The minister notes that so far projects such as the record-keeping book has helped in the training of persons in farm management.
These training courses involve the training of some 14,000 persons in the areas of vegetable production, cocoa production, soil conservation, farm management, small ruminant production, dairy production, apiculture, pesticide, and so on. This year, we hope to exceed last year's training standards. Specifically in terms of training, in record keeping, the Extension, Training and Information Services Division of the Ministry of Food Production conduct courses in farm management at venues throughout Trinidad, in which participants are taken step by step over a 5-day process in planning and recording of information to be used in the decision making.
The model farm is based on a 75-acre parcel of land leased to PCS Nitrogen and is charged with the goal of teaching farmers sustainable cultivation practices. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
Maria Sanka, a mother of 4 in Mayaro who had been dreaming of a new home for Christmas for her family, has had her dream come true with the help of Habitat for Humanity Trinidad and Tobago. Ms. Sanka is now the recipient of a new house. Painting, cleaning, and whitewashing. Armed with brushes and rollers, the team divided themselves into crews and painted the house's exteriors. Christmas is just days away, and soon the feeling will be heavenly, particularly for the owners of this new home in Mayaro. Miss Jennifer Messiah, National Director of Habitat Trinidad and Tobago, says the home is being built with proceeds from their donor agency, EOG Resources Limited.
Habitat for Humanity Global is an NGO that has been set up in over 80 countries around the world with one mission to eradicate poverty, housing, and homelessness from the face of the earth.
How does Habitat manage to achieve its objectives? Ms. Messiah explains.
Habitat gets the community involved, invite volunteers from everywhere, tertiary institutions. Our only condition is that you have to be 16 years and over, at least we be guilty of child labor. We also bring the corporate world, and today is an example of corporate TNT getting involved to not only sponsor the home, but actually show and demonstrate corporate social responsibility in a very practical way.
A jovial Miss Sanka tells News 4 she's thankful for the support from the Habitat for Humanity team.
Excited, very excited, overexcited.
She explained how her children will benefit from this gift.
It will be much better and thing. They'll have more room, they'll have the lights and thing, and the comfortable because they know this is theirs.
The intention of this project is to ensure that the Sankas have a wonderful Christmas 2012. If you want to get on board or might be a family in need of assistance, here's how you can get the relevant information you need.
They can also apply using our website, www.habitat-tt.org. There is the application form online. You just fill out the application form. Along with the application form, there's a list with a couple of things that you must give, one of which the most important one is that you must show clear ownership, long-term ownership of the land. It need not be that you have a deed or a title, but it could be that you have a lease arrangements. Once it's over 25, 30 years, be comfortable with that.
Habitat for Humanity is an NGO committed to building sustainable, affordable housing for people in need under a 5-year convenient agreement. When we come back, highlights from Trinidad and Tobago's final match in group stages in the Caribbean Cup 2012. The Trinidad and Tobago senior men's football team was in the familiar must-win position when they entered the final game of the group stage in the Caribbean Cup 2012 final round. The Soca Warriors were in search of a win versus a tricky Dominican Republic outfit and also needed some help from Haiti in order to advance. Wayne Cunningham was at the Antigua Recreation Ground, and he has the highlights from the final night of Group A competition.
Here was the scenario going into the final night of Group A competition in the 2012 Caribbean Cup. With only 1 point from their opening 2 matches, the Trinidad and Tobago men needed a win versus the Dominican Republic to have a chance of advancing to the semi-finals. Meanwhile, the home team could deny the Warriors with a draw versus the unbeaten Haiti. The national coaches made some changes to the squad which lost to the hosts on Sunday, bringing in Defence Force trio Devon Jostling, Kevon Carter and Curtis Gonzalez. The military men made an immediate impact as TNT looked much more disciplined going forward in this match. Then, in the 14th minute, Trinidad and Tobago struck, Carter bundling the ball over the line after the feed from Atula Guerra to make it 1-0. The Dominican Republic did not lay down and play dead, but went at the Warriors after that opening goal. Some constant raids on the TNT goal, forcing Jamal Shabazz off the bench. His instructions helped TNT to maintain the lead going into the halftime break. But the national team must have forgotten those words on the resumption, as former W Connection midfielder Jonathan Fana Frias carved an opening in the Warriors' defense to set up Kirby Rodriguez to score the equalizer. The Latinos were not done. Rodriguez almost making it 2-1 for his team from the tight angle. The TNT coaches then brought on Kevin Molino to boost the attack, as only a win would suffice. That change brought immediate dividends. Molino on spot to slot home after the goalkeeper could not handle the shot from Gonzalez. 2-1 Warriors. The men in red continued to take the attack to their opponents, and it looked like another goal when Guerra latched on to this rebound, but the post got in the way. 2-1 the final score in the first match, and the Warriors had a tense wait as Antigua and Barbuda took on Haiti. A place in Friday's semi-final was not the only thing up for grabs. A spot in the prestigious CONCACAF Gold Cup was also at stake. The home team rattled the nerves of the Warriors faithful as they had some early looks at goal. Those nerves were settled slightly 12 minutes into the match when Felipe Peguero Jr. opened the scoring for Haiti. The home team never recovered from that early strike despite their best efforts. The Haitian win putting Trinidad and Tobago in Friday's semi-final. I'm Wayne Cunningham from Antigua for News 4 Sports.
Thank you, Wayne Cunningham, for that report, courtesy the Ministry of Sport. Trinidad and Tobago semi-final will be Friday, December 14th at 6 p.m. against the points leader of Group B. More news after this break. Stay with us. The second annual Spirit of Sport Awards got off to an early start as they hosted a pre-event function in honor of 6 of the 25 categories. The event saw Trinidad and Tobago Olympic sailor Andrew Lewis taking home Community Coach of the Year award, where he expressed his hopes for the growth of the sport here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Local Olympic sailor Andrew Lewis has copped the second annual Spirit of Sport Awards for Best Community Coach of the Year. The function was a prelude to the December 28th event, carded to take place at Queen's Hall in St. Anne's. The youngster who represented TNT earlier this year was the first to do so in this category of sports and shared his dreams and aspirations for the sport locally following receiving the award.
I've been working with a lot of kids over the last 5 years of my life. You know, my dad and I started a program down in Destiny about 5 years ago, and it's still going really strong. We have now been able to, through the sport company of Trinidad and Tobago, widen the programs. You know, we have in Destiny, we have still going strong in Guapo, down in Tobago, and in Chagaramas, where our headquarters for sailing is, you know. So I'm doing my best to mentor and coach the kids all over the nation and give them an opportunity to hopefully create a few more Olympians in the sport of sailing.
The mini function also saw the honouring of technical staff in a special award category, which went to Dr. Terence Babwa, whose wife collected it on his behalf. Sport TT Chairman Sebastian Paddington underscored the importance of their role for all the national teams.
I think far too long, many people have, a lot of them feel very undervalued and not appreciated, not by the athletes, but by the public at large. And you have to understand the amount of people that they have behind the scenes. When Keyshawn wins a gold or when Chassain comes forth, I mean, there's a whole cadre of support staff. And in history, Trinidad has not been doing enough to provide the support staff to the athletes. You know, I mean, when I was swimming, for instance, it was me and myself. But when you look at the Americans, they have their psychiatrists, they have their physios, they have the chiropractors, 20 support staff for maybe one athlete. And not guys who go and travel first class and kick back and eat, drink champagne, talking guys who come to work. And our support team from 2012 Olympics, I really saw them working. And I saw the kind of long hours. I mean, Dr. Gopi Singh and Margaret, all these guys, they rarely left the village and the stadium. So I want to again thank Adrian and the team, but it's a tremendous category that we have to appreciate.
The Millennium Basketball Academy was also named the best community club, while the best performing school was awarded to Carapachama East Secondary, who recently won the Secondary School League. Shaquille Holder sent out thanks to his teammates for making the award a reality.
I'd like to thank everyone for choosing us this award. Thanks people at Central. Thanks Carapachama once again.
This year, TNT Olympic gold medalist Keyshawn Walcott has been nominated for 5 awards: Male Athlete of the Year, Sport Performance of the Year, Record-Breaking Performance, Breakthrough Athlete, and Consistent Performer. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
And that's a wrap for our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communication. I'm Joseph Lopez. Thank you for watching.